I grew up on the west side of Chicago and in the western, near western suburbs of Chicago. I don't know when the idea of becoming a writer per se, like I am now, didn't come that early. I actually wanted to be what I eventually did become for 10 years, was a newspaper man. I can't quite recall when that came over me, but it was sometime perhaps late in high school or early in my college career. I do remember at about age 20-something, one summer between semesters, walking down Michigan Boulevard past the old Chicago Tribune Tower with a girlfriend who I was trying to impress. And I told her, I said, you see that building? I remember, I says, I'm going to be editor of that someday, some kind of braggadocio like that. But I did have it in my mind that that's what I wanted to be. I believe what turned me into a book writer, which is much more introspective than journalism, was the experience of the war, of going to the war, and in two ways. One is I felt this compulsion to tell this story of what we had seen and what we'd been through. And perhaps, I don't know if it was a bit arrogant on my part, I felt like I could be the voice of people who were voiceless. If I did it honestly and properly and correctly enough. But then the other thing was, when I look back on it, you'll notice most literary writers have had something wrong with them, or something wrong with their lives. They're born sickly. They were, at least in my generation, they were gay, you know, which was made you an outsider then, or their parents were alcoholics, or something was unhappy in their childhoods. My childhood was boringly and pitifully normal, so. But it was the Vietnam War and the experience of fighting in it and then coming back to this country that was torn into pieces by it, and then being greeted more or less as a pariah, that turned me into a bit of an outsider myself. That was, so to speak, the wound, the inner wound that I had suffered that turned me into a writer.